Hi everyone, Funk the Nation Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Red Hot Chili Peppers album, Unlimited Love. This is a brand new LP from legendary West Coast funk and alt-rock outfit, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's been a while since their last full-length LP, The Getaway, in 2016, an LP I, to this day, struggle to conjure many memories of, negative or positive, which is kind of the case in general for the 2010s when it comes to the Peps. Yeah, I'm calling them that, the Peps. If anything, the last 10 years have felt almost like a loss of direction for the band in a way. Their past two LPs obviously weren't akin to the in-your-face funk metal that their breakout records brought to the table, nor did they really achieve the viral heights of their biggest pop rock crossovers in the late 90s and early 2000s. But now we have a new record here with a new decade and the exciting announcement that guitarist, songwriter, or multi-instrumentalist really, John Frusciante, is back in the mix with the band. Anybody familiar with the Peps history knows that John was there during some of the most pivotal moments in the band's discography. So that's got to be at least one reason to be excited for Unlimited Love, which is a massive album. Not the band's longest by far, but still a pretty hefty offering at 70 minutes or so. And for the most part, the 17 tracks here stick very closely to the band's trademark blend of funk-laced alt-rock, albeit now a bit smoother and mellower. I mean, obviously there's no Give It Away on here, but there's still lots of grooves to be had. A couple of metal-inspired bridges and breaks too. Seems like the band isn't desperately vying for pop appeal this time around as well. I mean, Black Summer was the lead single to this thing, and now having heard the entire album, it's just about the catchiest cut you're gonna get on this record. I'm not catching a supreme amount of drive and focus across this project as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's as if the band this time around is doing just what feels good in the moment for as long as they feel like it, I guess. And as somebody who's just listening to the record, there is something secondhand freeing about that. The Peps truly do have nothing to prove at this point. They're rock legends, one of the most popular to ever do it. As a bass player myself, I regard Flea as one of the most influential bassists of all time. No matter how weak of a record this band ever puts out, that's always going to be there in my heart somewhere, especially since as a 90s kid, they were a part of my soundtrack as I was getting into music for the first time. Which is why it's slightly encouraging to hear the band in a bit more of a funkier place on some of these tracks this time around, and also hear them randomly venturing into stuff like the sci-fi synths and sliding guitar melodies that suddenly shifts into these grungy hard rock riffs on Bastards of Light, or the country music transition toward the end of White Braids and Pillow Chair. There are also some really bold and jazzy trumpet layers toward the finish of Aquatic Mouth Dance, which is a phrase I hope I never have to say again, because it sounds like a one-way ticket to an STI. Having said that, I should move over to one of my biggest peeves with the record, and that is the lyrics. Lord, I mean, I am well aware at this point that Anthony Kiedis has not exactly built up the reputation of a you know, godly wordsmith or anything. But, you know, he does have a unique style that fuses elements of spoken word and singing and rapping. It's very dynamic, it's very punchy. And at this point, I can't really imagine any other vocal style fronting the band working in the context of the Peps music. But still, there's no reason for some of the verses on this record to be as absurd and just straight up silly as they are. Like Aquatic Mouth Dance, seriously, the band itself in the background is sounding absolutely sick on this track. I mean, melodically, one of the better hooks on the entire LP, but Aquatic Mouth Dance? Which is just the tip of the iceberg. Like the song Here Ever After, for example, this is almost gobbledygook. Peaches are sold and all giving up on that Humpty style at the Caldwell Cross from Blacktop. She's Eurasian. Met her at the Quick Stop. We danced at Tito's Go-Go. Girlfriend's back, now she gone solo. She's Eurasian. She's from the largest continental landmass on the planet Earth. Yeah, her and billions of other people. Like, I'm not averse to the idea that what is going on in this song is based in some kind of story or experience. But it's like Anthony is consistently pulling from the most irrelevant and ridiculous details of the tale and assembling that into some kind of a narrative jumble. What's even worse is the song Poster Child, which is packed with all these silly tongue twisters making constant pop culture references, some of which are cute allusions to the idea of all this stuff and life itself being so temporary. But a lot of the time it's just bubble gum I come bazooka, dirty dandy nana looka, smoke banana in your hookah, now I know the band is Ruka. This sounds like If We Didn't Start the Fire was written by Dr. Seuss, but on an off day. Look, I'm not going to belabor this point, but I think the lyrics across this record generally are weak. It feels rare that Anthony is actually delivering cogent thoughts that assemble into something coherent at the end of it. Like when he sings about coming to terms with not being the person that someone he seems to have romantic feelings for needs in their life on the song Not the One, or the story of star-crossed lovers on the track It's Only Natural. And keep in mind, both these tracks are highlights for me on the record. But sometimes his bars just come across too fragmented, or just too quick to throw out very low-hanging fruit, like lyrical cliche after lyrical cliche, or just be weirdly awkward. Please, love, can I have a taste? I just want to lick your face. Any other day I would say, you're Atlantis Manta Ray. He also delivers over the track One Way Traffic with all of these very strange white girl rap flows that are akin to that of like Rebecca Black on the song Friday. And it's moments like these that I think prevent the full potential of these tracks, even when the band in the background is just like totally kicking ass. Like on the song These Are the Ways, or What You Thinkin', which does feature one of the better choruses on the entire LP, but like, what is this flow where it just sounds like Kiedis is ripping off or interpolating Putting on the Ritz. So as I was saying, on this record it genuinely does come across that the band just doesn't have anything to prove at this point. That leads to some risks that are interesting and pan out. That leads to others where, yeah, not so much. The Heavy Wing, for example, is an attempt at this heavy, grungy psych rock fusion, and it has an easygoing and melodic enough start. And on the chorus, it breaks into some wildly noisy guitars that are really cathartic and exciting. Definitely one of Frusciante's moments to shine on the project. But I believe he also takes on the chorus as well, where the vocals get super buried. And frankly, this section of the song just kind of sounds like something that Red Hot Chili Peppers would have been a breath of fresh air from in the 90s. And I don't know why, but the drums, bass, and guitar on The Great Apes come across so much more amateurish than they do on any other track here. The drum beat seems so plainly straightforward, the bass triads are bland, the blaring guitar chords that ham-fistedly smother everything else in the mix. I feel like I'm listening to a rickety performance from a local band at a sports bar. I mean, I get in a sense the band may be going for something different here, but this is not the groove or fluidity I typically expect from a Chili Peppers song. The last leg on the project is a bit of a mixed bag. There's Heavy Wing that I mentioned earlier. The verse melodies on Veronica, oddly enough, sound like a bland rip off of the verses from Alanis Morissette's Head Over Feet. No idea why that's the case. And we also have the acoustic, laid-back, and chill closer Tangelo, which makes for kind of a moody but fleeting moment on the record. And look, overall, I will say this. This project was a bit of a tough sell for me, honestly. Even if there were some highlights on it or moments where the band brought some of the coolest grooves and song ideas they've had in years. But there are just as many tracks or lyrical passages that I am slightly repulsed by. Not to mention the whole thing overall feels like a bit of a slog. Really an overabundance of material for a record that doesn't seem to know what it set out to do. Feeling a strong 4 to a light 5 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Red Hot Chili Peppers, forever.